All right, lads, welcome back. Now, before the show, before the long flowing denim skirts, before TLC, before we ever knew these people, these were just two American kids. And I am not talking about Jack and Diane, by the way. I am talking about Jim Bob and Michelle. Now, she wasn't always a Duggar, of course. So, Michelle was born Michelle Ruark. She was born in 1966. Now, her family, they were just very normal, okay? These people were just living their lives. She was the youngest out of seven kids. Now, the only notable thing about this family is that there's a huge age gap between Michelle and the older children. That's basically it. But she didn't grow up religious, definitely not any kind of fundamentalism. Just very normal, just a regular American upbringing. She went to public school, she had friends, she was dating, and she was a cheerleader. Jeepers, who would have thought? Now, Michelle does love to tell this story, okay? That she was just mowing her lawn one day in her bikini. Now, she didn't know back then that she could have been causing men to stumble in their marriages. She was a kid. If an adult is watching a kid mowing the lawn, well, number one, stop back and looking at them. That's just creepy as hell. But if you're getting some kind of thoughts, well, that's an adult problem right there. Anyway, she wasn't religious. She's just going about living her life. Now, at age 15, she's talking to her friend and she decides, oh, yeah, I want to get into the church thing. So off she goes to Mass, right, with this friend. Michelle converts. Now, I think that that's very important because she chooses this, right? She's choosing this. So she's attending the church. She's very sincere about all this. Oh, now Jim Bob hasn't entered the picture yet. But at this stage, when Michelle is 15, he's 17 years old. Now, he was born in 1965 to Mary and James Lee Duggar. We do actually meet these on the show. Now, Jim has said that his father he wasn't a great provider, okay? Now, he also says that he went hungry, but I was wondering, is Jim Bob kind of projecting here? Because we know that before they got the TLC show, Jim Bob was feeding all of these kids from free food that he got from the church. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, by the way. Like, you have to feed kids. But I just think he might be projecting a little because Jill Duggar has said in more recent times that she was very hungry as a kid. Like, she was just getting beans out of their press, right, and eating them. That's how hungry that child was. Anyway, his parents, well, his father, not particularly religious, okay, but his mother was very religious. Jim Bob also went to public school. He only has one sister, that's Deanna. We're going to circle back to her in a while. So when Jim Bob is in school, he's not particularly academically gifted, but he is very, very ambitious. So Jim Bob is part of this. It's kind of like an outreach group. Now, they specifically talk to new converts, right? This group that he's in. And of course, Michelle is newly converted. That's how these two meet. Also, in and around this time, Michelle is working at a yogurt shop and Jim Bob's mother is the manager of that yogurt shop. Now, the mother likes Michelle a lot, very much so, apparently. So these two are in what's called a courtship. Then Michelle's father is offered a job and they're going to move. And Jim Bob is heartbroken. And he's saying to Michelle's father, don't move. Please don't move. I love her and I will look after her. I can look after her because I have my real estate license. Also, I work in a shop, I'd be great at this. So, for some unknown reason, all of these people thought it would be just grand to let a 17-year-old Michelle marry a 19-year-old Jim Bob. That seems very, very young to me. Anyway, these two got married in 1984. Now, Michelle talks about the marriage and she said, we did everything on the cheap, basically. I'm not surprised they were only fucking kids. But Jim Bob does have a house right now. He's after buying this house for 20 grand. How the hell did a 19-year-old get 20 grand? I'm pretty sure that Michelle's parents helped. I just get that feeling. So anyway, they're living their life very young, right? Obviously, they're poor, but Jim Bob is working. So as I said, he's working in the shop and he has his real estate license. But they are being sensible because they decide, oh, okay, we probably shouldn't have kids yet. So they don't, and Michelle is on the pill, which is fairly normal. But after a while, they decide, let's have a baby, and they do. And they have their very own demon Duggar, Josh. Yeah, I am talking about him. Anyway, Michelle goes back on the pill. because they're thinking they might have like 2 or 3 kids at maximum, right? Now, unfortunately, when she is on the pill, she gets pregnant again and she does have a miscarriage, which is very sad, right? Very, very sad. But this seems to be a huge turning point in these people's lives because for some unscientific reason, they think that the miscarriage was caused because Michelle was on birth control. That doesn't happen, by the way. That's basically, it's just propaganda. Anyway, according to Michelle, that's what happened. So Michelle decides that she's not going to take any form of contraception. I thought, all right, then, like, if you don't want to take the pill, but you can use condoms. Like, there is other forms of contraception. But she decides, no, I am going to let God decide what happens to my uterus. I mean, all right, then, it's up to yourself. So then these two come across a guy called Bill Gothard. Oh, so Bill Goddard gives seminars basically about how to live your life as a married couple, about how to raise your children. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, is he married with a load of kids? No, no, he's not. He's a confirmed bachelor and has been always. No kids, right? But he's out here preaching about how people should be living their lives. So according to Bill Goddard's teaching, he has what's called the umbrella of protection. So in this umbrella, we have God at the top. I thought, oh, all right, then that, I can get on board with that. Then after God, we have man, as in like, husband stroke father. Okay. Then, down the peg or two, we have the women. We can't have them getting any notions. And then right underneath woman, okay, which is mother stroke wife, we have kids. I thought, but this is all supposed to be about the kids. Why are they at the bottom of the ladder getting feck on? Makes no sense to me. But this becomes the frame of the Duggar family because these two just start popping out baby after baby after baby. Now, of course, after she has the very sad miscarriage, okay, she gets pregnant again, but she has twins and she thinks that it's a blessing from God. Now she's going to have 2 more babies. I thought, of course, it would be feckin' twins. Anyway, they're living in a teeny tiny house, okay? And she decides that she's going to do everything that Bill Gothard is telling these people to do, which is basically parentify your older kids so you keep knocking out babies and just get the older kids to take care of them. Also, apparently, as a wife, it is your duty to be joyfully available. Now you're wondering, what the hell is that? Basically, it means that whenever your husband wants to bang you, you're just supposed to say yes. Like, it doesn't matter, right? If you have a headache, if you have a pain in your back, it doesn't even matter if you just say, get the hell off me. I don't want you near me right now. None of that matters, right? Because if he wants to bang, you have to do it, but you have to do it with a smile on your face. That doesn't sound very healthy to me. So also in the Bill Gothard seminar group, whatever you want to call it, okay? Along with the Institute of Basic Life Principles, which is just how they live their life, there's also another part of it, and it's called ATI, which is the Advanced Training Institute. So this is how they homeschool their kids, right? They're called wisdom booklets, but it's faith-based. I don't think that that's great either. I mean, you're not gonna go out and approach some hospital and say, "Do you know what, I really want to be a neurosurgeon because I learned I have this education that's faith based." I mean, get a grip, people. We have to at least equip children, to live in the real world. So these are having loads of kids. Michelle is doing all the homeschooling and Jim Bob is working. Now, for some reason, Jim Bob thinks, do you know what would be a great idea, Michelle? I'm gonna run for the Arkansas House of Representatives. Politics would be great for me right now. So when he's going to do all of this, right, he decides, yeah, I'm gonna bring the wife, the kids with me, all dressed the very same. Oh, of course he did. So there's a picture of Jim Bob, Michelle, and the kids all dressed the same, heading toward the polling booth. And this goes all over the place, right? And that catches the eye of TLC. Of course it does. So TLC is like, who the hell are these people? And then they give them a show called 14 Children and Pregnant Again. Now, this changes everything for this family because they start to get a bit of money, but they also start to get a heck of a lot of fame. People could not get enough of these. I was one of them. I loved watching these as a kid. I didn't necessarily like the parents. Like, I always liked the brown parents, but I didn't necessarily like these two. I always liked the kids though. But I do believe that TLC thought this is a golden goose right here. And they were right, I suppose. But it wasn't just 14 children and pregnant again, because Michelle gets pregnant after that. I'm pregnant after that. I think TLC just said, oh, you know what, fuck it. Just leave the cameras there. She's always popping another kid out. And that is, of course, how we got 19 kids and counting. Or 17. I'm not sure it was one of them. But it was after the specials that TLC basically just left the cameras there, and thank God they did. I mean, all of the things that we got to see. These are basically like they're Kardashians with their media empire, but they're Kardashians but religious. And you know me, I love any kind of a religious, messy family on the telly. It's just what I enjoy. Anyway, that is our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day, and remember, I love you a long time. Slán.